Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. Tomorrow brings the series finale of Better Call Saul on AMC, bringing an end to the acclaimed spin-off of Breaking Bad. I spoke to creator Vince Gilligan when the cast and crew of Breaking Bad donated props and costumes to the Smithsonian National Museum of American History in 2015.
I want to know, at what point during it did you say, was it a couple of seasons in where you were like, this is almost a legendary status? You couldn't have guessed Smithsonian, but
No, you know what? You have asked me an excellent question. I should have a good, quick answer as to when, during the run of Breaking Bad, I figured out that we were on to something special. I don't have a great answer for you. The whole thing was such a gradual continuum. I guess if you really put my feet to the fire, it was probably sometime in season 3 or season 4 when I really started to realize that people were watching the show and paying attention to it. Another good landmark was in that first season when Bryan Cranston got nominated for the Emmy for Best Dramatic Actor, Best Lead Actor in a Drama, and then won. That was astounding. That was a big moment. But even then, we thought that was well-deserved love for Bryan. We didn't realize the show was responsible, or the show was not responsible for that love, but that the show in and of itself was going to go to those places as well. It probably was season 3 or 4. Although honestly, I still can't get over the fact that the show did as well as it did, that as many people around the world watch it as do, that we're here at the Smithsonian. It's mind-boggling.
It really is. Talk about, let's say some young writers are here. I think they can probably, for years to come, they'll be studying Breaking Bad in terms of
hope so.
The arc. Talk about the importance of from season 1 to the very end. How it's not side tangents. It's all working towards a piece of completing that arc, Walter's arc.
Well, we had a good foot forward in that there was a mission statement for Breaking Bad right from the get-go. I wanted to show a character in undergoing change, undergoing transformation from the beginning of the series to the end. Because TV typically doesn't do that. TV typically keeps characters in a kind of a stasis so that a show can go on indefinitely.
Right.
But I really like the idea of a character undergoing change, going from the good guy to the bad guy.
Mr. Chips to the Scarface?
Mr. Chips to Scarface, as I put it to Sony way back in the early days. And that was a good mission statement that held us in good stead. So that was what we tried to figure out with every subsequent season. How much further down the road is Walter White to becoming Scarface?
Yeah.
And I really have to give the lion's share of the credit to Sony Television and to the AMC Network for letting us go long enough, but not too long, that we could end the show the best way we knew how with the show. It's the Goldilocks problem. You want it
the porridge just right,
just not too hot, not too cold, just right. You wanted the show not too short, not too long, just right. And in the early days, the danger was it would be too short because it wouldn't have enough viewers. But AMC really stuck with us and said, we like the show. It's not the viewership we would prefer, but we're proud of the show. So they allowed us to have not too short.
Yeah.
Sony, who later on in the life of the series very much wanted to go on forever, as any company would, because the more show episodes you make, the more money you make. They really stepped up and they said, you know what, we'd love another season or 2 or 3, but if you really believe we're coming to the end here, gosh darn it, we'll go with you. We'll keep the discipline and we'll go with you on that. And so between AMC and Sony, they allowed us the just right porridge. They allowed us the not too short, not too long series. And if it weren't for them, the show would have gone, in the end, probably too long. And people would have said, hey, is that show Breaking Bad still in the air? Remember when that was good? I used to watch that. And that would have been the worst. That would have been heartbreaking.
And for the porridge analogy, if it was just that speaks to sort of the writing, but visually, your camera would have been down in the damn porridge, looking up. Talk about how you just shattered all those boundaries visually.
We I don't know when that started, but we really did like putting our camera in some weird places. We even from the bottom of the toilet bowl one time looking up, as Walter White got rid of some illicit drugs, or I can't remember what it was. We put the cameras all over the place, and I don't even know when that started, but we had fun doing that, that's for sure.
Hitchcock has trouble getting the toilet to flush in Psycho, and you're just plunging it down in there, man.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet
Thank
you, too. Thank you.
I also spoke to Aaron Paul, who memorably played the beloved role of Jesse Pinkman.
How you doing, buddy?
Nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet
All right,
you.
you said this is your first time ever to D.C.?
Yes. Yeah. It's my first time, and it's the way to do it, you know? Go straight to the Smithsonian, be honored for a show you really are so unbelievably proud of.
If you could have gone back to Aaron Paul 10 years ago and told him this is where he would be and he's had this success, he wouldn't even believe it?
No. I mean, it would be an incredible thought. But yeah, it's still so unreal.
When during the show, I mean, obviously you never know if a show is going to hit or miss, or a movie for that matter, but when during it did you sort of have the inkling that not only is this going to be a great show, like in the real time, but might even have a legendary status chance of something like this?
Well, we knew it was very special from the moment we started shooting. There was just something different about it, but we all watched it for the first time, meaning, you know, producers, the cast, Sony, AMC, we all watched it together for the first time at Sony. And at the end of it, we were all, you know, kind of taken back and speechless. But we still hadn't found out that we got picked up yet or not. And we knew it was something beautiful, something special, but we had no idea if this show could survive. And after a year, we didn't know if we were going to get picked up. The ratings were okay. But I think really in season 3 was when it just started to just snowball. And,
wow, this could really be something.
This could be something magical, and I wish it was that.
Do you have a favorite season? The stuff with you and Jane is intense. But
Season 2 was great, yeah. I like them all, man. They're all so different. And, I don't know. It's hard for me to say.
All right, well, we'll let you make the rounds. Before you go, could you give us a yo bitch?
Yo, bitch.
I next spoke to Jonathan Banks, who played the role of Hitman Mike in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
Is it crazy to have all these props around you, first of all? You probably haven't seen them in a while, right?
Yeah, they're always a part of it. They look very, very familiar.
Tell me about your character, Mike, was just so... There's so many people who might have been their favorite character, but talk about how deep the cast was in terms of what made... That's what made the show so great, is that it was such a deep bench.
Yeah, it is. They're not, I mean, you respect them as actors, but the added unbelievable pleasure was that they're nice, they're great people. It was just a pleasure to go to work, you know, and I've done this a long, long time. I mean, I think I can say that after 48 years, but, you know, we loved each other. And I don't care if that sounds maudlin, we truly did and do.
How much do you guys stay in touch, or is it mostly just events like this, or are there ever...
You know, it's one of those things, if you're very close with someone, they're never that far away, ever. But to physically see Aaron and Brian and Dean and RJ, I mean, it's great.
Yeah. When people come up to you on the street, is there a certain scene they always talk about, your final bow-out scene, or is it even Better Call Saul?
That mostly now it's the speech in Call Saul about my son. Yeah.
How much has it meant to you to be able to have that show to continue on that character?
I love it. Yeah, I love it. I was not done with my character.
I'm like, Brian said he was done.
Yeah, and Brian, I can understand because Brian had his whole journey. Glad to be there.
Awesome.
Lucky to be there.
Yeah. Well, as long as you remember that, that's the important part.
I remember it in spades.
Well, thank you for taking the time, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Finally, Bryan Cranston showed up to pay tribute to his iconic anti-hero Walter White.
I'm not satisfied until I have all the characters in the Smithsonian. But I never thought that Walter White would be here. I knew that LBJ was here before me, but it's nice. It's a nice tribute. We didn't even know we were going to be successful. You know, all we were intent on doing was trying to tell a story honestly and present it to the world, and we loved it. But we didn't know if it was going to play with the public, if the audiences were going to invest in the characters and the storylines. We had no way of knowing. And you can't predict that. You don't know. We don't know if something's going to be a hit or not. I mean, I think word of mouth was really the element that got us notoriety, and people saying, have you seen this odd little show, Breaking Bad? And it's a show that forced people to invest in these characters. There's no passive watching. I have one of the hats. One's here. I've got one at home. I also have my glasses, my sunglasses. I think that's about it. Hazmat suits we went through a lot. There was nothing good about filming in a hazmat suit. They were uncomfortable and hot. What would go in the exhibit? I think we would have the barrel of liquid acid that we melted people with. Come on, kids, jump in. Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Our theme music is Scott Buckley's Clarion. Remember to give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time. I wanted to take a second to tell you about an app I really enjoy. Living in the DC area is great, and Podcast DC gathers all of the local shows that I like all in one local app. Health, sports, local news, politics, and so much more. Podcast DC is the new local app with hundreds of DC area podcasts to choose from. I can earn exciting rewards just for listening and share the podcasts I love instantly. Available in the App Store or in Google Play, listen local with Podcast DC.